Corey. So he again, he was at his home, his former home, his home that he was moving from in Texas to Colorado, and he was just waiting for the last boxes to be moved when he got a visit.
Right. So it's important to just also set this up by saying that Corey was involved in what our deep state created that we're calling the secret space program. So the secret space program is this thing that's divided into different factions, and the faction that Corey was in is called help me out here, Jimmy.
It's
called Solar Warden.
Yeah, Solar Warden.
And, we have, like, Gary McKinnon, the UFO hacker, found the documents for Solar Warden, found out that there was a list of non-terrestrial officers when he was hacking NASA and the Pentagon, and also saw a picture of a ship. So Corey was involved in this program in these in long tours of duty, but then he had basically gotten out of it, and he hadn't been involved in many years. When he started to give me intel that dovetailed with what these 10 other key insiders that I had told me, he got brought back up there to this place on the moon that everybody uses in this program called LOC, or Lunar Operations Command. And that was when this cosmic soap opera, if you want to call it that, I don't mean that derisively, but it's very complex.
It is.
That's when it started. And that's when he met this guy that we're calling Gonzalez. And we found out at that time that even though historically the secret space program had been run by the deep state and was doing some very negative things, including human trafficking, that they since have had an alliance form that really wants all of this amazing technology and all of these facilities that we have throughout our solar system to be fully handed over to the public in a full disclosure event. So when Corey got brought up there again recently, it's sort of like after 2.5 years of him having these amazing experiences, this is the one that kind of is the capstone that ties it all together and just is an amazing, amazing story. So bear in mind, if you're listening to this and you haven't heard any of this stuff before, it's going to sound like sci-fi. But we have literally over 100 episodes of Cosmic Disclosure, weekly episodes on Gaia, that you can watch to get up to speed on this. And I've also written a whole bunch of articles on this. We've done videos on YouTube, all kinds of stuff. So that, I feel, is a good preface to get us started, with the caveat, again, that if you haven't learned about all this, we're going to be talking about things you might not understand, but you can learn all of the details if you watch the show or watch our videos and read our articles.
Now, also, so
Corey got picked up.
Well, let me jump in.
His house.
Let me jump in.
He got to meet with this guy, Gonzalez, again. And the first thing that happened was that he got to meet with this Mayan breakaway group. Now, the Mayan breakaway group is these people who have been healing all of the traumatized victims of the secret space program. Apparently, these people were on Earth, they were in the Mayan culture, and they somehow got space technology from the ETs that helped them build those pyramids, is what it appears to be. And now they live out there, and they're spiritually advanced. They have strange technology that's based on stone. Doesn't seem to have any machine-like parts at all. So that's where this story begins. As Corey gets brought up there, he's with the Mayan breakaway group, and he's told, we don't have time to discuss what's happening, just come with me right now. And this is Gonzalez telling him this. Now, Jimmy, I know you read this, so where are we right now about how, do you want to make some comments at this point?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, I don't think
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, I don't think David can hear me right now.
Yeah, I got no audio.
Okay, that's interesting. David, just stay.
I can hear your voice. It's very, 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 very quiet.
Wow, that's interesting. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so David, if just listen to me for a second. What he says here was that he normally feels an incredible blissed out energy while on the Mayan vessels. He says that this time he felt a very frantic energy. And he said that Gonzalez grabs him and they start to head to a door. And the Mayan feeling was, a smile, and that now that he would get from Gonzalez. He said that this time around, Gonzalez was freaked out. That Gonzalez had concern on his face instead of a smile. So that set Corey up for something that, and certainly when you go through the entire paper, you understand what the concern was with Gonzalez. But it wasn't like that for Corey this time. Also, let me back up, David. About 6 months ago, I had talked to Corey about Gonzalez because somebody had called into the show and said that they were Gonzalez right. So I had called Corey and Corey said, no, that's, I know where Gonzalez is and he's not calling into Fade to Black and he's not good right now, but he's on a Mayan craft and he is, but he knows where he is. But the bottom line is, from that point until now, he hadn't seen Gonzalez until this past October, and so when he finally does see him, there's some urgency going on. This wasn't some fun meeting where they were going to sit down and talk about old times. That's not what was going on. Gonzalez had concern on his face, so. That's when he gets taken in, and the Mayans are there. I'll go ahead and let you pick up.
Yeah, and by the way, your audio did come back.
Okay. Well, they're messing with us. Just ignore it, David. just roll.
I was able to hear you when it was quiet, but I had to listen really, really hard.
There you go.
Okay. So, what happens next is that, remember now, we're dealing with a war. And we're dealing with a war that's been raging on in the ET's time frame for hundreds of thousands of years. And so it's important to understand that solar systems like ours go through evolutionary quantum leaps, and we're about to have one. It appears to be correlated with the sun giving off a big flash of energy. And so we've been calling that the solar flash. And so the research that we've done shows that all different 35 ancient cultures in the world, analyzed by these two historians, Santayana and Von Deschen, which Graham Hancock wrote about in 1995 in Fingerprints of the Gods, they all said that we're heading into a golden age. All these ancient traditions had prophecies saying that something's going to happen. Usually they say it's something with the sun. It's pretty consistent. And that it catapults us into some new level of human evolution, like a light body.
Right.
Once we go through this, we process time differently. So it may even be as extreme as that now what would be like 1 year for us on Earth feels the same as 1,000 years. So we shoot through 1,000 years, but it only feels like 1 year. And then when you start to think about it that way, you can understand how a war that's raged on for 100,000 years in the higher realms might only actually be like 10,000 years or 1,000 years for us. And so it's a very different time frame. So what's been happening apparently is we have these negative beings that do actually appear reptilian. They have vertical slit pupils, they have the scaly skin. Now I'm not saying that this means that people in the deep state are shapeshifters. This was a common internet meme that went on for a long time.
Right.
As far as we know, anybody who's biological, your biology can't shapeshift. You can shapeshift if you're an AI being that's made out of nanites, because then they can handshake any way they want and make you look like anything. But any biological life form is not going to shapeshift unless it has some sort of advanced holographic technology. But it's not like its flesh is moving. So when we talk about reptilians, we're not talking about humans on Earth. We're talking about beings that actually look like this all the time. They're born that way, they die that way. And they have been the ones that are going around and invading planets and causing trouble. And this seems to be where we get this archetypal idea of Satan and demons. Because when we look at what we think that is, it looks very, very similar to how these beings look, with really the only exception being that, as far as we know, they don't really have any long tails. They might have short little stubby tails. They do have claws on their fingers and feet. They don't have horns on their head, but they do have the scaly skin. They do have the vertical slit pupils. They are very muscular, and they're very, very ferocious and terrifying. and they smell really bad too. So
we're gonna take a break right here. I want to set up for